Wow, wow, wow. Look at how beautiful the moon is setting on our nice hilltop. Isn't that nice? It's kind of framed right here between our Adventurers Guild and our Monticello inspired building, and it's just so nice. Look at that. But in this episode today, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spruce up this very hill. Now we're gonna start with the top half. If I shoot up here real quick, we'll take a look at what we have in store this episode. So I wanted to do a little bit of like a waterfall on this side, but first we're gonna do a little bit of some mobs over here. We're gonna do some small pondage. I'm gonna add like a small pond right here, and it'll flow down to like here and for another pond, and then it'll divert to here, maybe something over here, and then eventually there's gonna be a nice big waterfall right over here. But first, I think we need to do a little bit of terraforming because the shape of this thing doesn't really look too wonderful for a nice kind of multiple ponds cascading down and having that nice flow of water. Maybe we'll add some like rocks bulging out, some like vines growing on the sides. Who knows? But I gotta get started on just some simple terraforming just to get some kind of shapes blocked out for these ponds. So, begin the time lapse. What a beautiful sunset. What a beautiful sunset. And as we move down, we can see that I finished, quite a bit of this terraforming I was talking about. And yeah, I mean, first of all, I just turned everything into stone because I think kind of having this stonish wall makes sense because it's on this kind of face of the mountain. I'm gonna leave some patches of dirt just to have, some more color. But yeah, you can see kind of the colors we have, or not the color, the shape we have going with this. And yeah, I've kind of carved out somewhat of the flow of the water. So it'll go into this little pool, it'll flow down here, and then we'll do this part later, and then this part will flow down this kind of crevice here. It'll spread throughout this whole little area, and then it'll flow down into this pocket, and then this will eventually become what we do next episode, which is kind of a glass waterfall kind of thing. And I've always wanted to do that, so I'm excited for that. But first, what we need to do before we begin and finish the rest of these cliff sides is spruce this up. And as much as I like the look of it, and I think I did pretty good on the shape, maybe a little bit too much of the stairs and slabbing, but we definitely need to do a little bit more sprucing up because as nice as the shape is that I think I've done, it definitely needs some texturing, needs to add a little bit of just diversity in kind of the color and just the block textures really. So I'm gonna go grab some of those and then I'll walk through how I'm kind of choosing to go through this whole kind of texturing thing, and hopefully it looks good in the end. I'll see you in a second. Alrighty, so Alrighty, so I got the block palette. Kind of what we're gonna be doing here is just some moss and some tuff and some cobblestone, just to get a little bit of like differences in color. And yeah, I'm just gonna kind of just put some of these wherever and whenever I want. But one thing I do want to kind of try is like making, I don't know how to describe like blocks of texturing, because what I kind of do is instead of doing texturing in blocks, I do it in layers. So if we go down to this, right, you can see you have the tuff layer, then you have the cobblestone layer, then you have the stone layer, and then if we go over here, it's the same thing, right? You have a deep slate layer, then a tuff layer, then a cobblestone, then a stone, then an andesite, and a little bit of wool. But I want to just do kind of like, oh geez. Let me go address this. Oh, please don't go boom boom. We already had that once. Okay, crisis averted. Oh my goodness. But yeah, so I think I'm gonna start maybe with the tuff, and I'm gonna replace kind of this center, which I should probably go make my tuff stairs and stuff, because I think this side should be a little bit darker because it'll be covered behind the water, right? So it'll kind of create the shadow once we put the water over it. And then this is kind of my way of doing that shadow. And I think I'm just going to use normal tuff. I don't really want to go through all that hassle of, thinking about what should the bricks do, like what should this, blah, 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 all of that unfun business. So yeah, just kind of change this. And I already forgot what I put where, but yeah, just have this, because this will be like a main stream, right? It'll cascade down through this point mainly, ideally. Maybe you'll have a little bit here as well. But yeah, I mean, now that I'm looking at it, it should probably curve out a little bit more. So instead of like this part being that darker bit, we should do over here. I already need to reorganize my inventory. But yeah, I think hopefully it will look good once we have the water in. Yeah, I guess we can place this as well. And then we'll do, I guess this top bit can actually stay stone. Yeah, hopefully this creates a nice little darker bit for when the water finally goes in. And then I guess we could do the same thing here, because this will be kind of a, nah, I don't know, because my idea is kind of have this flow outwards and fill up kind of this whole thing, and then all of it cascades down. So it'll be like, I feel like it would feel a lot more thin in terms of like how thick the water is as it flows down. So I don't know if I'll do too much tuff on this side. Maybe towards the bottom actually, just because like logically speaking it should be darker down here. But the main thing I wanted to do with this area is actually, how did I have it before? I don't remember. I think it was that. But what I actually wanted to do with these ponds is just plant some like sugar cane on it. So it's like these things become these kind of cascading sugarcane cliffs where it's like super green, and then of course it's the cascading kind of waterfalls that slowly go down, and then we'll have kind of a big waterfall at the very bottom. So I'll just leave it at this for now. But yeah, so this will be kind of that main point of darkness. Let me actually change change this. Oops. And then we'll do that. Do this. And we'll call it at that for now, because I think because the water will be flowing from this side, this will be a little bit darker versus this side where there's no kind of water, and then there's like light reflecting off the other surfaces to light this portion up. So I guess from here up we can do a little bit of the cobblestone instead. Where is my cheeky little stone cutter? I believe it should be up here. Yes, perfect. One thing I've actually noticed while I'm building with this thing is I really should try and build bigger, right? I think my scale here is too small, even though this section is pretty I mean, it's not a small little section to be building, but I think because my scale, like the idea inside my head is just so small in comparison, I think it makes me use these stairs and these slabs a lot more than like other builders do, just because I'm like, I wouldn't say scoops, I wouldn't say scared. Oh, this should also be stone, right? No. Oops. Yeah, I think one of the biggest things I have problems with is just building bigger. I know I said some time ago I did want to like practice just building bigger things and just like have everything on a much larger scale, and I haven't been doing too well with that recently. And I feel like the designs are very kind of consistent. I think that one should stay since the water won't really fall on that side. It's primarily just right here where we kind of need to emphasize this little bit of darkness. And I guess the sides we can do like the mossy cobblestones and stuff like that. Let me just take a look. Yeah, we'll just extend this up just a little bit more. Not anything too significant. Just kind of an acknowledgement of the more shadowy part that this should be, hopefully. Now I'm no artist. I'm woefully terrible at art, much to my chagrin, but hey, a man can dream, can't he? So hopefully it makes sense. But I'm not an artist, and I don't think I'll ever be one, unfortunately. Yeah, let's add some mossy cobblestone just to get a little bit of greenage in here. And it also makes sense with kind of the themes where it's a lot of water, right? And then these sides would be kind of those more stagnant areas where water is splashing onto, or like kind of ruminating a little bit compared to some of the other parts where it would be flowing a little more. Perhaps it should be on the bottom, but anyways, yeah, I'm kind of just gonna line these sides up a little bit with some of that extra greenage just to get a little bit more color in as well, and also set up for when we put in some of these azalea leaves. I want some like cascading bushery, and I think that's one of the biggest things I'm struggling with is having non-vertical things, right? Like we go on a free cam here. I made this tree, right? Looks, it's a nice tree, but it's just straight up, right? Everything is like 90 degrees, goes up and down. Nothing's like particularly curved or even like horizontal, right? So I do want to kind of practice those things in the future, and it's becoming nighttime, so we gotta keep on trucking. And we can also do kind of the same thing here with this mossy cobblestone, where we're just gonna kind of put it in patches near where the water's gonna flow. Now, I'm not exactly too sure exactly where I want the water to flow, but I kind of have that general idea. And then these will kind of mark those spots for when we actually do begin filling the area, which will be very useful as kind of like a guide. And I actually don't mind kind of mixing this. So if I go here, I definitely want to add kind of a protruding little thing here, because I don't want the water to flow down this way, spread out, and then over, right? I want it to go down and kind of pool. So we'll also use this opportunity, and let me sleep just because there's not much protection around here. What a relaxing night of rest. Much needed, of course. Yeah, I'm just gonna do like a kind of like a boulder thing, just to emphasize this height, I suppose, and just make sure that this water doesn't really pool in that direction. So hopefully this works, and then it also works because I've got a little bit of that cobblestone, and I think we'll do like more texturing in a little bit. I think right now we're just kind of trying to get these shadows figured out, or not these shadows, or I mean, yeah, the shadows, and then just kind of the very basic. What's the word I'm looking for? Like the basic physical design of this entire space that we're creating here. Right, so we'll have a little bit more stagnant water on this side that's flowing in and then out and then trickles. And then maybe a little bit up here as well. Just kind of tossing this kind of everywhere. I just have that break in color. And we'll just put normal stone here because I don't think the difference is too significant. So I'm happy with kind of this top area, the mossy wise. We'll probably add a little bit more cobblestone. As for the bottom here, I think I'm going to leave it for now. I'll definitely do a little bit more fixing up, kind of off camera, just so I can, you know, put on like a vlog or something, just kind of relax and just think about it without, you know, having to narrate my every thought like I do when the camera's on. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way this is looking. So let's do a little bit more cobblestoning just for some texturing. These will be in like a little bit smaller bursts, I would presume. And this is just to kind of throw a little bit of other what? What's the word I'm thinking of? Just some other kind of breaks in like the sites. Just get some variety. And I think it's important, and I think having it like this where you're kind of mixing it instead of just having these blocks, I think that's also kind of nice. Kind of liking that. So like I'll do this perhaps, and then we'll make this a stair. Yeah, that's definitely looking a lot nicer. And maybe we'll add some andesite just for some highlights and such. So this and this. And then we definitely do want to put kind of these blotches closer to the mossy cobblestones just because it makes sense, right? Let me put a stone slab here. And I think this top part's definitely looking up. So yeah, I'm not too sure how I'm gonna get kind of like the sugar cane kind of sprinkled in here, but I guess on this layer it just won't be. But let's move on to kind of this section where we have just some leaves that dangle down. And I definitely need to do some of this when I add the leaves, just to make sure like the back is stoning. So let's replace. You see this? I absolutely hate terraforming with a shovel in my hand, just because of the freaking path blocks. It's just so miserable. Do that. Maybe another one here. Just get a little bit more of that greenery. We'll probably take away this corner block as well. Yeah, maybe we'll put some in like the middle here. Kind of have like these super watery vines that are kind of just, oh my heavens, kind of just floating and flowing. Right. Nothing too like, nothing too fancy or like out of place, just kind of embedded in the stone. Get those like green notes of maybe some bushes that are growing alongside, or any kind of like, hold on, any kind of just greenery that's been growing. I despise the shovel. See, it's just infuriating to deal with. But I guess we'll just do some of that. Yeah, I'm liking kind of how green it's looking. And honestly, this would probably look fine without the water, but I do want these cascading ideas. So on this side, definitely we can also do some greenaging. This kind of like replace function is super useful. Or if you like right click, left click at the same time, it completely like just swaps the block. I remember seeing it like in a B-dubs video. Shout out the prettiest and the most handsome builder of all time, of course. The inspiration for everything and anything, because he's so cool and handsome. WGlaze. Yeah, I mean, it's just so useful when dealing with blocks like that, where you kind of just don't want to deal with them, so you just eviscerate them from existence. And yeah, we're just gonna kind of build up these leaves. Maybe we'll do some of the mossy stone bricks here. Just some extra texturing. Get these kind of more like distinct blocks around. Okay, let me grab, where is the stone cutter? Here it is. Let me just chuck this gravel out. Don't need it. Just a couple of these. I don't plan on doing too much with the stone brick. Okay, let me grab some of this as well. Yeah, I'm just gonna kind of fill in this space just a little bit. Yeah, that looks nice. And I guess we can do the same for like this section. Do this side actually. Yeah, just kind of just do some nice simple but like significant blotches around some of these flowers, or I guess the leaves rather. But just making sure we're kind of just getting stuff around these. That kind of blends it in, but not too significantly. You know, just some simple blocks here and there, just kind of thrown in. Is that a full block? I don't even remember. I have a terrible memory. It's so sad. Okay, nice. I'm happy with that. And let me just... Yeah, I think we can get away with this at this point. So for this middle portion, I definitely do need to add a little bit more. I think doing a little bit of cobblestoning on our way up is not the worst idea here. So we'll just slowly creep our way up. Let me just get these reorganized. We'll have to take a little sleep again since night approaches. I'm assuming that was a slab. Definitely want to, oops. I'll change it to this position, actually. Maybe this one can become tough. Alright, let's take a sleep real quick so we don't get jumped by a creeper again. Yeah, I'm pretty happy about this. So I think I'm gonna just continue kind of doing this texturing off camera, and then you'll probably see me pour the water in. I'll finish up the other sides, and then we'll get to decorating with actual, you know, sugarcane, like I implied this build would be about. And yeah, so I guess we'll just begin a little time lapse, and I'll see you guys once I'm ready. Alrighty, so as you can see, I've filled in the water. I've added a little bit more greenery around. I did a little bit of that side, and yeah, let's just take a little free cam and let's look. So I added kind of this section here, and I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. Maybe I'll add a little bit more greenage on this kind of face alongside the water, just because it kind of looks just really gray on this edge. Whereas this side, oh, maybe I'll do some more here as well. I did this. I haven't done this yet because I'm still kind of figuring out what I want to do. It'll probably be more cascades. We'll leave that untouched for the remainder of the episode. But yeah, I kind of just want to decorate these things with the foliage right now. So I think we're going to start down on that pond actually, just because it's a little bit easier. So I'm just going to place a couple of these kind of around, just because I think when you're looking at it from afar, you'll get those little blinks in the firefly bushes, which I do enjoy. And of course, oh, I almost jumped down there. The main attraction, the sugarcane. So I'm thinking we can make these kind of tall, because like maybe the logic is that there's like no natural, like not predators, but like no animals are eating on the cliffside sugarcane, so it's able to grow a lot taller, but maybe it's still kind of restricted by the light because it's only, like in the morning or something like that. But I think I'm liking this kind of concept. Now, let me actually put the water in there. That way I can get some sugar caning on this side as well. Yeah, we're just gonna kind of just green up this place with some actual plants versus. Hold on, let me get up here. I want this one to be a little higher, just because I think varying the heights of the sugarcane will look nice. And then maybe we'll do some. I'm planning on putting some like glow berries, maybe, just for some more color and more like of that verticality that's kind of detailing around. And then we'll put some of the sweet berries for a pop of color. And, same logic as the sugarcane, maybe it's thriving really nicely along this kind of area just because there's not many predators to eat it or whatever. So yeah, I'm kind of liking what we got going on here. Maybe we'll put, I'm gonna grab some more water. And I guess for the logic behind how there's so much water here, we'll just say it rains a lot. And I think that's like kind of enough quote-unquote lore for this area. Put this one up one actually. And then perhaps we'll do some bambooage. Youch. Wow, that was the most monotone youch of my life. Okay. And maybe we'll just keep these shoots actually. Oops. I guess not this one. Let me hop on top. And we'll place. Because this. Yeah, this keeps this little stem if you place it. Versus. I guess this one will keep. But we're going to wait for that one to grow. This one we want to keep small. This one we can grow out. But yeah, if you place the thing, if you place the bamboo on top of like the tip of the growth, it keeps the leaves, which is super cool and useful for a lot of, I think, building purposes. I can't, there's no water. I guess I will put the water source here. You can really see I did the bare minimum of terraforming. I didn't cover up all of the little things. All the dirt in the walls. Just did the bare minimum. But who said doing the bare minimum is bad? Oh my goodness, I thought I was tripping. I was like, where's my water? Okay, I have an assortment of things that I want to put in here. And hopefully it looks alright. Wow, this thing grew so quickly. My goodness. Maybe we'll put some. I can't put any on the cliffs. That's so sad. And we'll put like some small drip leaf. Oh, I didn't know those were so tall. You can only plant them on moss or in water. Oh, oh no. My drip leaf. Ugh. Those things are so difficult to manage. I forgot that you actually have to shear those. Okay, let's bone meal this so we can get it done. If you bone meal it, it has like the leafy top. Okay, nice. Let me do that. And then maybe we'll call it at that. Make sure to get that. And let's go to free cam. And yeah, we have these super vibrant stalks of green, which honestly do kind of clash. Maybe that's because... No, it just... I think the moss is too dark for the shade of green that kind of appears when you go further away. Look at that. It does clash quite a bit. But no matter, no matter. Ouch, I keep doing this. Is there anywhere to put some sweet berries on this face? I do believe we have some overhang. And I can't plant these on top of the moss, or the leaves rather. So I guess we'll just mix some moss up in this. And then we'll plant some glowberries. I'm gonna just let these both grow down. And it'll also be a little bit more convenient for some lighting purposes, just to make sure we don't have to like manually light all of this up. Look at that light, it does do a pretty good amount. The edges here aren't too bad. So yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with the way this looks. I think it's a nice little like mini environment that we've just created on that little pond. So I'm pretty happy. I think it'll look better with shaders. So now we'll begin moving up, and then we'll be putting things inside the water mostly. But this is also a good opportunity to talk about how ugly this looks. This little bit of water. I think concept-wise, I did do what I was thinking of, right? You have the water here that cascades all the way down, and then eventually we'll put this here into a waterfall. But if you look at this, the texturing that we just did isn't really visible unless you zoom in, right? I'm pretty sure it'll be better with shaders on, but like this is just abysmal, to be honest. Like it just looks blue. But I think shaders will make it look nicer, which is always good. And then that also leads me to the waterfall project for one of my next episodes. I don't know if it'll be with the next episode, but I'm going to make this a glass waterfall like the talented Mr. B-Dubs did in his building with B-Dubs World. Just because I think it'll show the colors a lot more. I'm maybe going to add some cobwebs kind of down here for like the splashing effect, because I don't have geysers yet because I'm still playing in 1.21.10, I believe, which is the copper update. So I don't have spears yet. I don't have the sulfur cubes, so I don't have those geysers and the things to make little animations. And I will be updating once the Dappled Forest comes out, because I'm super excited for that. But let's get decorating, shall we? Shall we? My English is not very good right now. So I'm just gonna make these kind of moss outposts, I suppose, and I don't think it matters too much that it's kind of just floating in the middle here. Just the idea is just to have these high, like, and there's super tall stalks of sugarcane. Maybe this one is just uniquely standing tall. Bring both of those up as well. And kind of the point of this is just to like have these super towering pieces of sugarcane. And then maybe behind the wall I'll do some like automatic sugarcane. Not nothing too big, just to get something. And I can't place the drip leaf in here. I can't place it on top. That's so interesting. Or stone. Oh, wow. That's actually really sad. So I guess this is kind of like a bastion of greenery inside the ponds. So I'm just going to add a little bit of greenery on these edges. And there's no water here, of course. How could I forget? If I'm not mistaken, it was like this. We'll put maybe a 4 high here. And I was thinking maybe try and get something like growing inside of this, but I think it'll be a little bit difficult. But we can see those sugarcane kind of popping up. Maybe we'll get some canage over here. I guess this is good because it's breaking up this kind of super funky side here where I was talking about how the much kind of the saturation of this stone color is kind of throwing off. So I guess in a way this is a blessing in disguise, but maybe instead of putting it kind of, oh man, these are all slabs. I was gonna say maybe instead of putting it along this kind of bank, we can put it along the, oops, there should be moss. Instead of doing it along the bank, we can do it along kind of the sides here and like, you know, add sugarcane along the sides, which I don't think is a bad idea, but we'll have to do, oh, let's keep that there. And we can probably decorate the top here. It's perfect. Our plan is just to be super green, super luscious. It'll be a little bit difficult being super green and super luscious once you run out of the good old sugar cane. Hopefully I have some more in here. No, of course not. I have bone meal, I can't. Bro, I've been playing this game for so long. How do I know you can't bone meal sugar cane? I'm a fraud. This is so sad. I guess we'll just place some bushes around, get those nice kind of blinking lights that everyone enjoys so very much. And also it'll do a little bit of spawn proofing. Not anything significant, but just a smidge. Also do some of that. And then we're just breaking apart some of these kind of blocks. And maybe we'll bone meal this just to get some greenery inside of the pond. Just so like when you're flying overhead, you'll see a little bit more greenery inside the ponds rather than, and we're out. Rather than just kind of water, hooray, right? It's gonna be actually flowing, it's gonna have life as we've already established around this area. And I kind of want to go a little sparse on these just because it makes this wall super, super thick. Which is the one thing I don't like about seagrass, but I mean, it's inevitable. Like the same, that's why kelp is used so much to make source blocks. Same thing with seagrass. When you bone meal, it can grow off of like flowing water, but then it'll create source blocks to be in, which is infuriating sometimes when you're trying to sculpt water, which is why this I think came out a little bit, because this thing became source blocks which pushed the water level up, and then it let source blocks be formed across here. But there's probably like a gap right here that means these two won't cross or something. I think water's definitely a struggle, but I think the seagrass will kind of put some more greenery in the places we couldn't put the sugar cane, which is always going to be nice. I'm thinking maybe bone meal in like over here just to get some more greenery, because I think shaders will let you see a lot more. These all really slabs. Wow. But yeah, this is definitely something I'm happy with. Definitely this lower part. Maybe I'll have just this as my thumbnail versus this cascading part, but I don't know. Well, maybe I'll do some A/B testing, but yeah, that's more or less kind of what I had planned for this episode. Just getting some more water features done, just because I love the Riptide Trident. I use this more than fireworks, just because my bases and my builds are all really close together right now, because this is like a young-ish world where I haven't been doing too much. Like 90% of everything I've done in this world is within my render distance, if you include the rest of the build there. Like basically every episode I've done is kind of within this kind of radius, right? We have our beautiful flower fields, our mega build right here, our store system. our inner courtyard, our Ashen Bell Tower, the Monticello inspired thing that I don't know what to call, our Adventurers Guild, our starter base, our library, our monorail esque thing, I suppose, and now this, but it's just a much more convenient way to travel, I think, if you have a bunch of water and a Riptide Trident. I think you get that speed really nicely. But yeah, before I end this episode, let's actually take a look in some shaders. Just because I was kind of theorizing that shaders will make the water look a little nicer. So hopefully I was right. And yeah, a little bit. Ooh, that sunlight looks beautiful. Look at that. Maybe have it just peek out and you have that ray. Oh yeah, that's nice. Let me turn around for this. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, look at that glint. Oh my, that's beautiful. Yeah, the shaders definitely help. You can see a little bit more of the texturing that we did. You can see the green in the seagrass back there, and it makes the glowberries shine a little bit brighter. Same with the firefly bushes. Yeah, that's definitely beautiful. I'll definitely be using shaders when I admire this. I think the water from above looks really nice. You can definitely, oh my, look at, I love the way the shaders, like, you can see the way this building kind of cuts the light in half. That's super cool. I want to do something like that when I do my builds over there. I'm planning on doing a sunset build when you're looking into the beach and having some clouds, and then we can visually see the clouds cutting that sunshine. I think that's super cool. Yeah, look at that. It's pretty beautiful. I'm pretty happy, but if we take a look at, oh, look at all of that non-spawn proof stuff, because I'm gonna spawn proof basically this whole island, but I don't want to do it, like that and that. I want it to be kind of subtle, right? Where it's like atmospheric and it makes sense, or with a bunch of glow lichen, which doesn't look the best, but I think it's better than just torches everywhere, especially for kind of environments. Oh, look at how beautiful the moon is rising over our stuff. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy with this. Definitely got to get the rest of it finished. We'll get that done in due time. Maybe we'll do a different theme on those sides with the compared to the sugarcane. And yeah, I mean, maybe we'll do like some trees along the ridge here. And then I'm really excited to get this glass waterfall just to make me like think about my build a lot more, because I think that's one thing I kind of do that's really bad. Oh hey, look at the ground. I kind of go on autopilot and I stop thinking about how I want to build these things. Let me get on top of let me get somewhere safe before I continue yapping, because we'll just go into free cam for this. But yeah, I think I need to think a lot more when I build. I think that's one of the things that'll help me improve is genuinely giving thought into my builds, because you can kind of see where my thought was with this, kind of having those cascading little like layers of stone, but I don't think I executed it very well. But I think that also goes into what I was saying before, where I need to stop doing these super small increments and just let the shape be itself and build these bigger kind of these bigger blocks versus these super tiny kind of nooks. But yeah, I think that's it for this episode. Look how beautiful this is. Actually, let's take a look at what it'll look like in the morning sun. Let's take a little sleep here, and then I'll wrap up this episode. So yeah, let's take a look. Look at that beautiful. Oh yes, the sun just shining directly on it. A little bit of burnage from the zombies, but look at that. You can definitely notice a lot more of those texturings. I think you can see that cobblestone in the back. I did kind of cover up all the toughness. Ooh, kind of got the tough textures leaking through. I think that's just because of the way the flowing water is rendered with the shaders, or kind of clips off. But I think that's okay. That's not a big deal. Nothing too big to fix. But yeah, I mean, I think this looks really nice. I love the warmth of the sun when it shines on this. Yeah, I definitely need to. start doing a little bit more glass work, because as much as I like, how practical this is, and then we can, Riptide Trident, I think it doesn't look too good being just this block of water. But yeah, I mean, I think I did as I expected, and I'm happy with that. So I guess that is it for me this episode. Have a good morning, evening, afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.